Hi, I'm Josh McLean with David Walters Yachts. Today I'm up in beautiful Northeast Harbor in Maine. Today is particularly special. I'm aboard this beautiful Hylas 56 that I have the pleasure to represent, named the Glass Slipper. She's hull number 21 of 27. It was launched in July of 2016 and is being offered for sale by her original owners. Now, this particular Hylas 56 is one of the most highly spec'd and customized 56s among her sister ships. And as we go through this tour, we're going to certainly touch on many of the highlights and key features and tell you a little bit about the design philosophy and the thought process that went into this spectacular boat. Very attentive and fastidious owners. That is evident in the condition of the yacht, as well as the level of detail and attention that went into the selection of the particular equipment that this yacht is customized with. She's a unique interior design, as we'll see when we get down below decks. She's a 2-cabin custom maple interior, designed primarily to maximize storage and functionality, but really to feel like a home on the water for serious long-distance cruises and extended stays aboard. There's a lot of really unique features about this boat, and I'm excited to take you aboard. And we'll start up here at the bow. One of the most notable features about the Glass Slipper is her tall performance rig. These are carbon fiber spars done by Selden, and the mast itself is about 8 feet taller than the standard Hylas 56. The mast is also paired with a carbon fiber Park Avenue boom, which is rather unique for the 56. Gives you a lot of edge in terms of performance and control of the main. It's also a fairly simplistic system in that it's easy to use, easy to deploy and retract the main short-handed. In addition to the carbon fiber performance rig, we do have a custom stainless steel bowsprit up here. There is provisions for the asymmetrical Doyle sail. We also have brand new North Sail NPL tours for the Genoa as well as the mainsail. And we have a Doyle staysail here as well. The Genoa is on a upgraded Harken electric furler, and the staysail is on a top-down FX 4500 top-down furler. Also features up here at the bow, we have a vertical Maxwell windlass. Right now we've got it led to the primary chain here. We've got dual bow rollers. Great access to the chain locker up here forward. It's a segmented chain locker. There's a collision bulkhead here as well for offshore safety. And one of the most notable features that is quite familiar to many fans of Hylas yachts is the stainless work up on the bow. So this big stainless steel plate here really protects the gel coat and the deck from the clanging of the anchor chain, as well as protects the bow. We've got striker plates on either front of the nose of the boat. There's 12-inch stainless steel cleats here with substantial backing plates. You've got 4 cleats up here at the bow. You've got 2 pairs midship, and you've got 2 at the stern that we'll see as we continue our tour of the deck. Up here on the foredeck of the Glass Slipper, there's a couple of things I want to point out here that are rather unique to the yacht. First thing you'll notice is the deck hatches and just the overall aesthetics of the deck profile here. One of the design criteria that the owners had specified to Queen Long when the yacht was being built was that they really wanted to preserve the natural lines of the Frere design. So it's a very uncomplicated and uncluttered deck. And that really starts here with these deck hatches. These are custom fit flush-mounted Lumar hatches with smoked acrylic lenses. As opposed to the standard 56 or many other boats where they'll have the sort of the higher profile stainless steel framing, this keeps it really slick and clean across the deck. The other thing you'll notice is the purposeful lack of any varnished teak. That was done, again, to keep the boat very modern and contemporary here, but also to make it a little bit less maintenance intensive while you're out cruising. Certainly a desirable characteristic. So all of our handholds up on deck, these are all polished stainless steel, 316, very high quality, all polished welds. You'll notice the stanchions here. These are 34 inches high, so they are, waist height. You can really lean against it. Offers a lot of safety and security while you're cruising. This is a cream-colored non-skid, molded non-skid deck. Really feels great on the feet, offers a lot of traction when the deck is slick. And if you look at even a 20-year-old Hylas, the non-skid on these boats is some of the best I've ever seen. Really, really a standout feature of this builder. You can also see we've got a natural teak cap rail running the length of the yacht with stainless steel fair leads, which is really the only interruption of the cap rail. Coming back here to the mast, we get our first look at some of the more desirable upgrades of the yacht. First thing you'll notice are the very high quality Anderson winches. Now these are Anderson 50s. These are the only manual winches on the yacht. Everything else is push button electric. We can also see the GMT carbon fiber whisker pole. And we've got these really nice upgraded spin lock clutches. All the running rigging, you can see much of it's been replaced recently, but all of it's in very good condition. Other things that we'll see here, we've got Navtec cylinders here for the boom vang, as well as for the backstay, which we'll see when we get to the transom. And you've got cockpit controls for all of this. Great carbon fiber mast. Here's a look at the Park Avenue boom here. Everything is super clean. I mean, the paint, the gel coat, everything about this boat is just absolutely spotless. So here on the side deck of the glass slipper, we get a good look at some of the deck hardware. First thing I want to point out is this Navtec rod rigging. Now, if you're not familiar, this Navtec rod rigging is about twice the strength of the typical 1x19 wire rig that you'll find on most boats, certainly on the standard 56. So this is a very, very desirable upgrade. Other noticeable deck features here is the upgraded Harken blocks. Most of the hardware here on deck is Harken. We also have stainless steel tracks, both inboard and outboard, with double cars inboard here. You'll notice, one of the design improvements on the 56 is the recessed Genoa track here. Really saves the toes here as you're moving up on deck. It eliminates a bit of a hazard. Another notable feature, an improvement on the 56 over the 54, is this raised salon window. This is definitely a more modern style. You got greater headroom down below, gives the boat a really sleek and clean profile. In addition to the natural light pouring through the raised salon windows, we also have 14 opening port lights here. Now these are high quality manship hatches, all screen inserts, really provides a lot of natural ventilation. In addition to the portholes, we also have 6 hull windows that are flush mounted in the hull. And that whole premise of keeping everything flush and clean, you'll notice, is certainly a key characteristic to the overall aesthetics of the yacht. The hull port windows, you have 2 in the master stateroom, 2 midship here in the main saloon, and then 2 forward in the VIP suite. So back here at the transom of the glass slipper, there's a couple of key features I want to highlight. First, overall from the design of the 56, this is a very functional space. These, I call them the gin and tonic seats. Everyone's got a bit of a different name for them, but this, in my opinion, is like the best seat in the house. Great spot to sit and lounge at a beautiful anchorage like this. Spectacular position to be seating in while you're under sail. What's unique here is, instead of the traditional high gloss varnished teak slats, we have stainless steel. So again, it keeps with the rest of the theme of the yacht. Other things that we'll notice here is we've got the Dyneema boarding gate. So this offers quick, easy access down to the swim platform. This is all teak planking back here with black Sikaflex. There is a transom shower here as well. A large transom garage. It's a great spot to stow scuba tanks or the fuel can for your tender. There is a dedicated bilge pump in there as well. We also have a flush-mounted folding swim platform. We've got boarding rails port and starboard, as well as along the trailing edge of the yacht is a stainless steel striker plate that really protects the hull when you come up in the tender. So a lot of great features here. We also see, as mentioned earlier, these are the Navtec hydraulic backstays. These are Simpson stainless steel electric davits. They have had the lines upgraded with the Dyneema, which is a pretty popular option. Looking at the storage space of the transom, we've got two big lazarettes, and these go all the way down to the bilge. There's also a collision bulkhead here, much like in the forward section of the yacht. Also, I like that the stainless steel push pit is extended up to the midship gates. Now that's a pretty desirable feature on the 56. Adds a lot of safety and security. As I mentioned, this is an area of the yacht where you're going to move around a lot. So being able to step out of the cockpit, have a solid handrail to, you know, kind of give you that sense of security, and really everywhere you go, you've got somewhere nice, safe, and secure to grab on. We also have grab rails here on the coach roof. Before we head into the cockpit, I want to point out just a couple of features here on the glass slipper. First thing I want to mention is the Bimini and the Dodger. Now this was done by Andy's Canvas in Fort Lauderdale, and Andy's Canvas has been the longtime preferred vendor of Hylas Yachts. His work is fantastic. Just the fit of the Dodger and the Bimini is really clean. These are also drop-down isinglass curtains. These are original to the yacht, but still in good shape. You also have a very hefty stainless steel frame here, so a lot of rigidity to it. One thing I want to point out as well is up on top of the Bimini, we have 6 low-profile solar panels that were added in 2021. This is one component of a larger system that really has added a lot of versatility and self-sufficiency to the yacht, and that's the new lithium battery system for the house bank. So this is 660 watts of solar panel up top. Now that really extends your time away from the dock, your reliance on shore power, your use of the generator, and really enhances the yacht's ability to be self-sufficient. Now I like that these are mounted on a very low profile. They don't interfere with the boom, and they certainly don't affect the yacht's aesthetics when you're looking at it from the profile. In fact, from down on the deck, you wouldn't even see these. So that's one of the big concerns about solar is, you know, they can be a bit unsightly if they're not mounted correctly. Now as we look down here at the actual cockpit itself, I want to point out that the entry into this cockpit is quite gentle. So it's an easy step up. It's not like stepping into a bathtub, which is what some folks kind of think of when they consider a center cockpit. One of the big design improvements from the predecessor model, the 54, to the 56 is this larger cockpit here. So the width of the benches here was actually designed so that an individual that was 6 foot could lay down and lounge comfortably without interfering with the helmsman. We can actually get 8 adults here in this cockpit, all seated comfortably without interfering with the maneuvers necessary to sail the yacht. From the helm, these Anderson winches are very accessible. The cockpit itself is very ergonomic. Speaking of the winches, as mentioned earlier, these are a substantial upgrade from the standard winches equipped on most other Hylases. This is an Anderson 72 for the primary, and we have an Anderson 52 for the secondary. Now, what's special about these winches is the fact that this primary here is actually 2-speed, while the secondary is a single speed, but they're variable speed at the same time. So what that really means is I can just put a little bit of pressure on the button, or I can put more, and I get more speed or torque out of the winches. So a pretty special feature here. In addition, and we'll see it when we get into the cockpit, all of the push button controls for the winches have been upgraded from the standard sort of rubberized cockpit switches that have a tendency to crack and fail over time. These are more of a stainless steel clamshell design, very weather resistant, and just overall a much cleaner installation over the sort of the typical rubber winch switches. All right, so from behind the helm here, the glass slipper, just a couple of things I want to point out. And let's kind of talk first about the cockpit environment. As mentioned earlier, the ergonomics to the primary and secondary winches are just fantastic. I mean, from behind the wheel, it's a 40-inch Lumar wheel, larger than standard. I've got very easy access to my staysail and Genoa sheets. But not only that, but I also have access to my winch controls, push buttons here, as well as the Genoa furling, which is actually, there's push button controls to both port and starboard. Here to my right, starboard, this is the Yanmar engine control panel. We've got all of our readouts and engine alarms here. And then to port, we have our switch panel here for our external lighting, bilge pumps, engine blowers, and a few other auxiliary components. Back behind me, we have these cockpit cubbies here in the coaming. Pretty handy for just deck equipment, winch handles and such. And then we have another little cockpit cubby here. As well as great access here to our main sheet winch. So as mentioned earlier, this is Anderson 50, which push button controls. Very easy access here to the main sheet. Up across the companionway, we have our Raymarine units instrumentation currently configured with depth, speed, and wind. Adjacent to that is the Antel cockpit clutches and another Anderson variable speed electric winch. The seating here is quite comfortable. This is actually expected to be a little bit thicker than the standard cushions found on most Hylas 56s. Very plush, comfortable. The condition of the fabric is very good. All the cushions have these snaps on the back, so everything stays in place when the yacht's heeled over and in motion. You've got great visibility forward through the Dodger. The forward isinglass can be opened to provide for natural ventilation through to the cockpit. Again, you've got drop-down curtains here, both port, starboard, and aft. One of the design improvements on some of the later model Hylas 56s is actually the cockpit sole. We've got the teak floor here with these large scupper drains. In some of the earlier vintage 56s and some of the later model 54s, this is actually a teak grate. So this is definitely a more preferred version of the cockpit. In terms of the instrumentation here at the helm station, first we have this large Raymarine multifunction display, obviously integrated with the radar. Very visible. The angle is just right. Sometimes if the angle's too gently sloped, you get a lot of glare on it. This is perfect. We've got autopilot control here as well. You've got a remote touchpad control for manipulating the chart plotter. Sometimes you get salt on your fingers. These multi-function touch displays can be a little bit funky. So having the touchpad here is a nice addition. Now in terms of the overall architecture of the Raymarine chart plotters, the unit that's actually at the nav station is the master, and the slave unit is here at the helm. But one of the nice features is they've actually installed a secondary chip reader, so that if for whatever reason your primary plotter at the nav station fails, or you have an issue with the chip reader here, you can actually pop the chip in here and have full control here at the helm. Do have side power bow thruster control as well. As mentioned earlier, one of the sort of design elements of the yacht was to keep everything very sleek and uncluttered. That's carried through here at the helm. First off, the overall design of the helm itself was custom done by Queen Long, so it's a little bit more sleek and modern than the standard 56 helm. Also, the joystick control here has been replaced with the push button bow thruster controls. You obviously have VHF radio here and a Ritchie binnacle, as well as a Morris single action throttle. So before we head down below, I just wanted to kind of highlight just how much space you really do have in this cockpit. Because one of the, as mentioned earlier, the big design improvement from the 54 to the 56 was certainly this cockpit. And it's wide enough to where you can socialize and get 8 people sitting around here, but it's not so wide that you can't brace yourself up against the settees when you do heel over. In keeping with the trend of the rest of the yacht, trying to keep everything kind of open, uncluttered, and functional here, we've got this great cockpit table that was custom designed. It folds up to a cocktail style, but then if you want to do sort of al fresco dining, right here you got this beautiful little cockpit table here that you can easily get 2 people sitting across. There's, of course, drink holders here as well. So kind of a neat feature of the boat, and really highlights the space in the cockpit. Now as we look up here towards the companionway, this Lexan and stainless steel companionway entry is, I think, probably one of the clever washboard designs I've seen on a Hylas. So this is Lexan framed with stainless steel. It latches open, slide it flush. It slides completely up and out of the way, and then here you go. So here from the interior, looking at the companionway hatch, you can really get a sense for just how much natural light this lets in. So this is a pretty clever feature of the boat, certainly unique to glass slipper. Looking through the rest of the main salon here, one of the most stunning features of the yacht on the interior is this maple joinery. This is really unique to the glass slipper. It's a very contemporary look, which carries through the flat panel design of all the cabinetries, all the flush fitting hardware. It's really adds an element of lightness to the yacht, which helps open up this space. As we go through the rest of the interior, a couple of themes that you're going to observe. First off is just the smart utilization of storage, but also at the same time, without cluttering up the yacht and making it feel confined. So in areas to preserve the beam of the boat, you'll notice it's wide and open. There's a lot of clever touches here, both from an aesthetic standpoint and functionality, that really make this boat special. So just looking at the layout of the main salon here, to starboard we've got the long settee that pulls out about 9 inches, makes it a very comfortable single berth when you'd have either an additional guest on board or makes for a real proper sea berth. Outboard of the settee we have a pop-up 32-inch Samsung TV. And then over here to port is an L-shaped settee surrounding this gorgeous teak table. Now there is an insert here that can expand the capacity of this table as well. And when you do have additional guests, there are 2 additional seating stools here that can be converted into little cocktail tables. The cabin sole, as you'll see, is a solid teak cabin sole, which is rather unique on the yacht. And the solid teak, in combination with this gorgeous maple interior, really adds a real stunning and modern look to the overall yacht. One of the most unique things that you're going to find about the interior of the glass slipper is her general arrangement. So the owners of Glass Slipper really were keen to make the yacht feel like a home. They were intending to spend long periods of time comfortably living on the boat. But not just that, they wanted, when their guest was aboard, to also have that same level of comfort. So what we're going to see in the forward section of the yacht can really be described as a second master. It's significantly more voluminous and open with a lot more storage than your standard 56. And there's a lot of advantages to that. So first off, in the standard 3-cabin 56, you lose a lot of functional space just simply in the forward passageway, if you consider how much square footage that takes up. That has been really made advantage of in being able to incorporate more storage, more privacy for your guests, and overall just a more homely feeling to the boat. So as we step forward here, first thing we're going to notice is you have a sort of a privacy door right here at the main bulkhead. Now this is great. That means the entire forward section of the yacht, when you do have guests aboard, is their own private domain. And when you don't, this stays open and you've got this whole forward cabin here to take advantage of storage. So what we're going to see here to starboard first is that we've got these 3 large lockers here, each with drawers beneath. Now in our aftmost locker here, we've got this splendid combination washer and dryer. It is ventilated outboard, so we do have a mushroom vent up on the side deck. That's really the proper installation for these units. If they're not ventilated, you just don't get the same, they don't dry as well. Directly below that, you've got this great drawer here. Look at the depth to that. You can fit all your cleaning supplies here, all nice and orderly. Now, the 2 forward lockers here are both meant for storage. Now, these are versatile. There's a lot of different ways that you can use this. In this center locker here, we have a lot of our parts, spare components, cleaning materials, bits of odds and ends, but you can see just how deep this locker is. Now, imagine the amount of storage space this yacht has compared to your standard 56. It's a real key advantage of the interior. Similarly, we also have another deep drawer here, and we've got the same setup here, just forward. All right, so we talked about the storage here to starboard. Now, just adjacent to that, we have this great mast locker. And on most of the 56s, this is kind of an afterthought, not a lot of storage space in here. But in here, we've got inflatable paddleboards stored, and just a lot of sort of odd-shaped items that can be easily stored in this very tall locker. So it's a great use of the space. Now, as we move forward here, we've got an island-style queen berth. Now this island style queen berth is a great setup because first off, you know, as opposed to a standard V berth, you know, you're not interrupting your partner when you're stepping in and out of this berth. You actually have a bit of a step up here. You got his and hers nightstands. One of the kind of clever features here in terms of these nightstands is the fact that, keeping with the clean aesthetics of the yacht, the charging ports are actually located beneath, and you can tuck your cords in and out right here. So it just kind of keeps the whole forward section very clean. Also, this is probably one of the more clever features of Glass Slipper, is the utilization of these hull port windows. Now these are actually custom built. These are not standard on any other 56. This opens up this whole space, gives it a lot of beam and openness. Also provides a lot of natural light coming in, but it's just stunning. These seascape views, whether you're laying or lounging in bed, you can see right out across the water. Very comfortable space here for your guests. Other amenities, obviously we've got a very large, actually an oversized deck hatch here, larger than the standard 56. We have 4 opening port lights in this cabin. We've got additional in the head here, we'll see in a minute. We do have these 12-volt fans, and you've got, of course, the bulkhead reading lights. Now this mattress here does lift up, so it's on gas struts here, gives us some additional storage to some of the mechanical components stored underneath the berth. Now as we take a little bit of a look back here, we've got the forward head. Now this forward head here is significantly larger than the standard 56. You know, it's arguably larger than the master head. There's so much headroom and space here that just makes this a really comfortable space for your guests. We've got vacuum flush freshwater heads. These have all been freshly serviced, great condition. You know, as opposed to the saltwater heads, there's no odor here. The entire yacht is just pristine. You've got 3 maple trim cabinets here outboard. You got a mirror on the forward bulkhead, this gorgeous porcelain bowl, high quality fixtures, storage beneath, and then this shower here is huge. So there's so much room in this shower. You know, I'm 5'11", just kind of for comparison here, and there is a tremendous amount of space. Now, since we do have the washer and dryer located over here in the forward cabin, it opens up this space here for linen closet. So this is a wet locker linen closet here, great for towels, cleaning supplies. It's just a good utilization of space. There is an opening deck hatch as well as a port light for ventilation. All right, so now we're going to be just stepping aft to the main salon here and adjacent to the galley. This is the navigation station of the Glass Slipper. This is a outboard facing nav station, and one of the things that I like in particular about this layout is actually all the storage and the organization that you have just aft. So just starting top, working our way down, we do have this split cabinet here. It's a real nice bookshelf with the removable fiddle, another split cabinet, and then we've got these 2 drawers, and these are nice and deep, kind of hold all the odd and end trinkets. And then under here is a great locker in which all of the safety gear for the yacht is contained. Smartly located, just adjacent to the companionway, exactly where you'd want it, all consolidated and neatly organized. Now, adjacent to the nav station is a chart locker, just underneath this island-style galley countertop. Also adjacent to the companionway is the manual bilge pump, and you've got the handle located just inside the doors here. And if you look just around the corner down here is the central vac system. So there's 3 ports for the central vac. There's one here in the main salon, one forward, as well as one aft. Now that's a really nice system to have on the boat. You know, because it eliminates the need to carry bulky vacuum cleaners or those little handheld units that really don't do much good. Looking here at the nav desk itself, it's a bifold desk, obviously maple joinery like the rest of the yacht, and then you have a pull-out navigator seat that's trimmed with the ultra leather upholstery to match the settees in the main salon. So just a brief overview of what we have here at the nav station. Obviously, we have our main distribution panel here for our 12 volt and 120 systems, as well as our 240 down here. Hylas is well known for their electrical organization. So when you open this up, all the wiring back behind it is incredibly well organized and labeled. They do some of the best electrical work in the industry. Here on the outboard panel, we have all of our navigation equipment. This is actually the battery management system for Victron Energy lithium battery system for the house bank. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. We have another Raymarine chart plotter here. Again, touchscreen, but yet with the remote panel. Again, salt on the fingers can make that a bit of a challenge, but this really is a nice way to go. There's also the Fusion stereo system. There's a variety of different zoned stations throughout the yacht. You've got the forward cabin, the main salon, the aft cabin, the cockpit, as well as the Bose speakers beneath the, as I call them, the gin and tonic seats. And again, you've got your primary chip reader here. This is your master Raymarine. The one at the helm is the slave. We do have the secondary one up there, as mentioned. We've got an ICOM VHF, as well as an ICOM single sideband radio, each with command mics, and then there's the SP24 hailer. Now, underneath here, we've got a variety of different components here. So this is actually our battery control here for a forward battery bank. You've got our compressor, and then you've got our fuel and our water Syntex monitoring systems here. Fireboy control, Spectre water maker control panel, and then a variety of charging ports and AC outlets. On the forward bulkhead is the Northern Lights control panel, and then adjacent to that we've got the smart controller here for the Raymarine autopilot. Beneath the nav desk are our main breakers and our switches here for some of our major power draw systems. So we've got our generator main power. This is actually the link switch for the AGM batteries. This link switch can be used in emergency if your start batteries are a bit low on voltage and you need to tie them in with your forward bank. This enables you to start the engine or the generator by tying those two banks together. You got a main engine switch, main DC, and then we've got a variety of different controls for some auxiliary equipment. We have all of our winch breakers here, and these are all quite sensibly located next to the companionway. So in the off chance that you do pop a breaker, it's an easy run down the companionway here and right to the breaker panel. All right, so we're going to take a look through the galley here on the glass slipper, and before we kind of take a look through some of the appliances, I want to talk about just some of the highlights of the overall layout. First off, we've got this beautiful tropical brown granite countertops. We've got squared off fiddles here in the galley, and in the heads we've got the same granite countertops, but they have a bullnose finish, which gives it a nice contemporary look. Outboard, we have 10.5 foot of uninterrupted counter space here. So you've got a lot of prep room. And then inboard, we've got this really nice island style configuration. So this is pretty versatile. It's great for serving food or cocktails or drinks, or just simply giving you the space to be able to do dishes or set out snacks for the crew. One of the key features about the galley is just its sensibility and the ergonomics of how these amenities are laid out. So, for example, here we've got a galley sink. We do have a pure drinking system here, so it's a purified water system. It's also plumbed into the ice maker. You got these nice high-quality fixtures, pull-out faucets, single basin custom sink. It's really a great setup. But adjacent to that, as I said, the sensibility of it all, you have your dishwasher, which is conveniently located next to your galley stove. And you've got a trash compactor here as well, right near where you do your prep work. So everything in this is very well configured. Now, one of the unique features here as well is the fact we have an induction cooktop. So this is a 4-burner induction cooktop. Now, the advantages to the induction surface is the fact that it doesn't get off the ambient heat that a traditional propane system would. So if you're cruising down in the Bahamas or the Caribbean, or even in the summertime up here in Maine, it can really get warm. So not having all that ambient heat filling the boat up every evening as you're cooking is a major benefit. So real nice system. It can run completely independent of the generator or shore power using the lithium battery system for the house bank. 12-volt dishwasher here. Lots of cabinetry space here. These are all very deep. Great pull-out drawers. A lot of room for organization here. It's fantastic. We've got frigoboat top and front loading refrigerators and freezers. Adjacent to that, we've got this great microwave convection oven. And then just after that is our spice cabinet. Now this is kind of a unique feature here that the owners had specified. Most of the 56s have this tiny little spice rack cabinet, generally located by the sink here, but this is a real good space for anybody that likes to cook on board. You do have lots of pot and pan storage down here. And the nice deep lockers aft. Wow. Another nice feature is just simply the ventilation here in the galley. So you've got these opening port lights. You've got 2 outboard, and then you've got 2 inboard. Now that really helps, evacuate any heat with your cooking, your boiling water. Just gives a nice gentle breeze through the rest of the boat. So much like the rest of the yacht, there's a lot of smart design decisions that were made here in the aft cabin. A couple of those standout features include the fact that we've got maximum storage back here in the aft cabin. On many of the 56s and other Hylases, you have a dressing seat here to starboard and a flip-top vanity. While nice, they don't really add a lot of practical use or functionality. On a cruising boat, storage space is definitely premium. So what the owners of Glass Slipper have opted for is to actually maximize the storage here on the yacht. So we've got these 2 very large wardrobes, port and starboard, sort of a his and her style. They're seam-to line, automatic lighting, a hanging bar, a lot of space here. We also have these twin cabinets here, mirrored port starboard, and then you've got these nightstands here at the head of the berth. Nice thing there is there's charging ports to starboard. We've got a bank of 3 drawers, and then after the berth, we got these bookshelves, and across the transom here are these opening port lights. So one of the best things about having these opening port lights is not only the spectacular views over the transom, but just the simple ability to get this natural flow of air through the yacht. So in fact, if you were to seal up all the other port lights and hatches on the yacht and just simply open the forward hatch and these aft port lights, you do get a really nice breeze that just kind of pulls through the yacht. So it's wonderful when you can be in a nice anchorage like we are today and just have a nice crisp breeze kind of flowing through. The head is a freshwater vacuum flush toilet. It's got the fiberglass base to it, makes it all very easy to clean up. Again, you've got the tropical brown granite countertop with the bullnose edging. I really like these white porcelain sinks. It's a bowl style, very modern aesthetics. Outboard, you've got 3 vanity mirrors with medicine cabinets back. And then you've got a mirror on the inboard bulkhead. And you get this massive shower with this beautiful maple trimmed Lexan door. Inside the shower, you do have a large linen closet outboard. Again, on many of the 56s, that's actually where the washer and dryer would be located. But since we've got the custom cabinetry forward, it frees up that space for additional storage. Up here on the forward bulkhead of the master cabin, we've got a recessed Samsung 32-inch TV. It is, like I said, integrated with the chart plotter, so you can pull up your charts, radar, navigational equipment right here in the master cabin. Sort of a useful tool if your partner's up on watch and you just want to kind of keep an eye on the charts. Underneath that is this fairly large hanging locker. This is a full-on hanging locker here with a hanging bar, cedar line, automatic lighting, just like the rest of the cabinets. Here, the island-style berth. This is a pretty substantially sized berth. First off, you have this 8-inch custom comfort mattress. This is a spectacular mattress. I mean, it's really, really not your typical hard foam mattress you might expect from the factory, but quite comfortable. And you also have the same up in the forward cabin. Underneath the foot of the berth is additional 6 drawers for storage. Underneath the berth is actually access to several different systems, and we're going to take a look here in a second and show you some of the details. So up until this point here, we've really talked a lot about the aesthetics of the boat, the layout, some of the more creature comforts, but we haven't really dived into the systems we're going to take a look at that next. And so here we are, obviously in the master stateroom. It took about 2 minutes. We've removed the custom mattress, removed the access panels here, and you can see just the fantastic accessibility to some of the components that we have here in the aft cabin. And we're going to walk through some of the major systems. First thing I want to touch on is this is actually one of our primary water tanks. We've got obviously our fuel and our water tanks. They're all built out of this nice stainless steel. You can see the quality of the welds on the edges here. One of the things that's especially nice about the way that Hylas does their tanks is the fact that you've got 2 inspection ports. You've got one for a bit of quick access here. This can be removed. You can run a dipstick down. You can inspect the general contents. But if you really had to do some maintenance to the tank, let's say clean a water tank or a fuel tank, you can take off this larger inspection port here and really gain access to every nook and cranny of the fuel or water system. You can also see just this is the sending unit here for the water monitor. You're going to have the same system here on the fuel tanks. You see the nice quality of the fittings and fixtures here for the water system. Obviously, one of the things that we see back here is our new lithium battery system for our house bank. And we're going to talk about that for a bit. First off, there's a lot of benefits to lithium batteries. It really frees up the independence and self-sufficiency of the yacht, allows you to cruise farther, be away from the dependence on shore power or your generator, and really run all your electrical components off of your battery bank. We do have a Northern Lights 9 kW generator aboard the boat, but with the switch to lithium, which was done in 2021, you're really going to find that you're not going to be using your generator nearly as much as if you had a traditional AGM battery bank. Just the size of the batteries, the weight of them alone is pretty astounding. In fact, we can see here inside of this fiberglass box was at one point a single 8D AGM battery, and there was 4 of these located back here. By removing these, we've freed up a tremendous amount of space, and we're able to put the majority of our electrical components simply right here under the berth. Let's start here with our batteries. So here we have 6 Victron Energy Smart Lithium batteries. Each one is 200 amp hours, and the entire house bank is contained right here. So just the weight savings, the space savings is tremendous. But the real benefit there is obviously the capacity, but not just the amount of amp hours you have, but also how much of that battery is actually able to be utilized. You can run AGM batteries only to about 50% before you really start to lose the capability to use the system dependently. With the lithium batteries, you can run these batteries down to next to 0 and charge them up in 1/3 of the time as a traditional AGM battery. So you've got 1,200 amp hours of battery here compared to the original Yacht had just about 1,000. So we're able to run a lot of our components right here off our battery system. Now the brains of the electrical system here is right here. So we've got our battery management system, our various Victron energy components, and then across we have, these are our multi-plus Victron energy inverters. They're actually combination chargers and inverters. And with these 2 inverters here, we're able to power all the systems on the yacht just off the house bank. Other components that we have here as well, this is one of 3 of our cruise air conditioning systems. There's obviously one dedicated here to the master, one to the forward cabin, and then one in the main salon. And then across here, we've got our Beam central vacuum system with ports in each cabin and the main salon as well. And then right here in front of me, we've got our AMSEC safe for valuables, and there's an access right here outboard of the berth. One of the hallmarks of Hylas Yachts, and certainly the 56 series and the glass slipper, is the accessibility to the machinery and ship systems. So here we've got our primary access to our engine compartment. The glass slipper has a 4JH4 HTE 110 horsepower common rail Yanmar engine. Engine's got just over 4,300 hours on it. and then aft is the Northern Lights 9 kW generator that is just under 3,600. Both the Yanmar and the Northern Lights, highly reliable components. We've used Yanmar in the majority of our Hylas yachts over the years, and the Northern Lights is certainly renowned for its reliability. As mentioned earlier when we talked about the electrical system, your reliability or your reliance on the generator has really been reduced due to the fact that the boat has received its lithium battery system upgrade. Your solar panels are certainly going to be keeping up with the capacity of your battery bank. Here on the main entrance here to the engine compartment, we do have the dual ray cores. This is you've got both a bypass valve, vacuum pressure gauge, and the ability to do self-fuel polishing. So the Northern Lights also has its own ray core system. It's nice and easy to see the bowls here. You can check the quality of your fuel, see if you have any contamination. If you do get a ray core that is being bogged down, you can simply bypass to the secondary. Some other components that we can see here, just down below here we do have our primary and our secondary alternators for our house bank as well as our starting banks. We do have a whale gulper manual bilge pump that's got access right here from adjacent to the nav desk. We've got our pure water filtration system here, and then we've got really easy access to the sea strainers. So we've had the opportunity to go through and talk a lot about the key features and the highlights of the glass slipper. And I can tell you from my personal experience, having sold a good number of these 56s over the years, this is certainly an exceptional boat. One of the things I always emphasize is, you're not just buying the boat and the contents of it, you're really buying into the love and fastidious nature of the prior owner. And that couldn't be more true than aboard the glass slipper. I'd love to talk to you in greater detail about the boat. You can always refer to the listing, but I'd love to talk to you. Give me a call. My name is Josh McLean with Dave Walters Yachts. My number is 616-204-9658. You can always reach me via email at josh@davidwaltersyachts.com. I'm looking forward to talking to you about the glass slipper.